AITA for leaving my wedding because my fiancé made a fat joke about my sister? I didn't know I was marrying the mean girl. I read it. This happened a couple of weeks ago and I'm still sorting through the emotional wreckage. I've gotten mixed reactions from family and friends, so I'm coming here for an outside perspective. I, 29M, was supposed to marry my fiancée, Emily, 27F, 2 weeks ago. We'd been together for 4 years and engaged for 1. Emily is beautiful, charismatic, funny, and driven. Someone I truly believed was kind and warm, especially toward family. Or so I thought. My younger sister, Maya, 24F, is my best friend. We've been close our entire lives. Maya has always struggled with her weight. She has PCOS and a history of disordered eating from our teen years, but in recent years she's been working hard on her mental and physical health. She's not a size 2, but she's healthy, confident, and glowing in a way I haven't seen in years. Emily had always appeared nice to Maya. Polite, friendly. They weren't super close, but I never sensed tension. Our wedding was set at a beautiful venue, outdoor garden ceremony, about 120 guests. Maya was my best woman, non-traditional, but she's earned it. She gave a heartfelt speech at the rehearsal dinner that had both of us tearing up. Everyone said it was the emotional highlight of the night. The morning of the wedding, everything was on track. I didn't see Emily due to the usual wedding traditions, but I was nervous, excited. Then, one of Emily's bridesmaids pulled me aside, looking visibly uncomfortable. Let's call her Rachel. She said, "Hey, I'm sorry, I really don't want to cause drama, but I think you should know something before you go through with this." She had overheard Emily in the bridal suite talking with 2 other bridesmaids about Maya's dress. Maya had chosen a pale lilac gown that suited her beautifully. Our wedding colors weren't super strict. Apparently, Emily laughed and said, "She's really brave to wear that color with her shape." I thought it was a lavender tint when she walked in, then followed it with, "At least she's not standing next to me during photos. I don't want people thinking the whale is part of my bridal party." I was stunned. I asked Rachel if she was sure. She was. Another bridesmaid later confirmed it, without knowing I'd heard it already. I walked off to a quiet area behind the venue and just sat down. I kept thinking, this is the woman I'm about to marry. She knows Maya is sensitive about this. She said that about my sister, on our wedding day. I felt like I didn't know her at all. I called my mom. I told her what happened. She didn't try to talk me out of anything, just said, "Whatever you decide, we support you." So, I left. I didn't cause a scene. I didn't tell anyone except my parents and Maya. I texted Emily and said, "I can't marry someone who would speak about my sister that way. The wedding is off." Emily blew up my phone. At first it was, "This is ridiculous, it was just a joke." Then, "You're throwing everything away over a misunderstanding." Then came the guilt. "Do you know how embarrassing this is for me?" Her parents are furious. My phone has been lighting up with messages ranging from, "You made the right call," to "You humiliated her over one comment." Emily claims she was just letting off steam, and didn't mean it. She said all brides say catty things under pressure. But here's the thing, I can't stop hearing the words whale and tent, and picturing my sister crying if she had heard that herself. Maya has since told me she suspected Emily didn't like her, but never imagined it was that bad. We haven't spoken since. I've started canceling things like the honeymoon and unwinding joint plans. It feels surreal, like I dodged a bullet I didn't even see coming. But now I'm starting to question. Was I too impulsive? Did I overreact? Should I have confronted her before walking away? I don't know. But I do know this. If someone can speak that cruelly about someone you love, especially when they think you'll never hear it, what else are they capable of? I for walking out of my own wedding because my fiancé made a fat joke about my sister? Feeling lost but also weirdly clear-headed. Update, I walked out of my own wedding after my fiancé made a cruel fat joke about my sister. Now I'm facing the aftermath. I read it. I didn't expect my original post to blow up the way it did. I read through every comment and I'm incredibly grateful for the perspectives, validation, and even the tough questions. A lot has happened in the past 2 weeks and I wanted to give an update for those who asked, and maybe process it a bit more for myself. I, 29M, was supposed to marry my fiancée Emily, 27F, but I walked out the morning of the wedding after learning that she had made cruel body-shaming jokes about my younger sister, Maya, in the bridal suite. A bridesmaid tipped me off, and another confirmed it independently. Emily called Maya a whale, and said her dress looked like a lavender tent. I left quietly and texted Emily that I couldn't go through with the wedding. I didn't confront her in person at the time. Just left. The fallout was exactly as chaotic as you'd imagine. Emily called me 16 times the day of the canceled wedding. She sent a string of texts alternating between begging me to talk this through and raging that I humiliated her. Her parents reached out. Her mom sent me a long message about how brides are under stress, and words said in private shouldn't be judged as character defining. Her dad was more direct. "You owe us an explanation and apology for blindsiding everyone." I said nothing at first. I just shut down. Grief, embarrassment, and anger were all sitting on top of each other. The first real conversation I had was with Maya. She cried when I told her what Emily said. Not because she was surprised, but because, in her words, I spent so much time convincing myself I was paranoid. She thanked me for choosing her, for making it clear that her dignity mattered. That's when I knew I didn't make a mistake. After about a week of silence, I finally agreed to meet Emily in person. We met at a cafe. She showed up looking composed but tired, like she hadn't slept much. The conversation was complicated. She opened with, "I didn't mean it. I was venting. It was a joke between bridesmaids. I was nervous. You blindsided me." I stayed calm. I told her this wasn't about wedding day nerves, it was about character. About how someone talks when they think they're unobserved. I told her I wasn't angry in a hot, reactive way, I was just done. She kept trying to frame it as a misunderstanding. She said, "You've never seen me like that before. Doesn't that count for something?" And that's what hit me. I hadn't seen her like that before, but it still existed. What she said about Maya wasn't a slip of the tongue. It was meanness said comfortably. That's not someone I could build a life with. Some of my friends are solidly on my side. Especially the ones who've met Maya and know how hard she's worked to feel at home in her own body. But a few people, especially some mutual friends of Emily and me, think I went too far. One mutual friend said, "You could have talked to her first." That was a nuclear option. Another asked, "You're really going to end a 4-year relationship over one offhand comment?" To be honest, I've second-guessed myself 100 times. But I always come back to this. If I hadn't found out that day, I would have married someone who could be that cruel behind my back, and behind my sister's back. Is that really someone you want raising your future kids? I'm in therapy. I don't say that as a dramatic postscript. I say it because I want to do this right. I want to unpack how I didn't see this side of her. And how part of me ignored little red flags over the years. Not necessarily outright meanness, but comments that lacked empathy. Maya and I have been spending more time together. She told me she feels safer now than she did before the wedding, like our family drew a hard line in the sand that said, "You're worthy of protection." That alone is worth everything. Emily called my sister a whale and mocked her dress the morning of our wedding. I left. The fallout has been painful and messy, but deep down I know I made the right choice. Not every breakup has to come from a cheating scandal or screaming match. Sometimes you walk away because someone showed you who they are, and you believe them. Thanks again, Reddit. You helped me feel less alone. Rebuilding, not regretting. Final update, 6 months after I left my fiancé at the altar for mocking my sister. Here's where we are now. Hey Reddit. This will be my final update, and I just want to thank everyone who stuck with me through the whirlwind of this story. I never expected a single Reddit post to turn into this, but writing these updates has honestly helped me more than I can say. So, it's been a little over 6 months since I walked away from my wedding after finding out my fiancée, Emily, made a cruel fat joke about my sister, Maya. I figured it was time to share what's happened since. Right after everything fell apart, it felt like I was free falling. Even though I believed I made the right decision, there was still grief. 4 years of a relationship don't just vanish because you make one strong choice. I spent a lot of that first month in therapy. Weekly sessions. Talking through what I missed, why I hadn't seen red flags sooner, and how deeply Emily's comments about Maya hit a nerve I didn't fully understand until that day. It helped. I'm still in therapy now, just not as often. But I feel grounded in a way I wasn't before. I trust my judgment more now, because I proved to myself that I could choose self-respect and family over fear or image. Emily and I haven't spoken since our one post-wedding coffee meeting. She moved back to her hometown according to a mutual acquaintance. From what I've heard, she's telling people the breakup was a misunderstanding and that I overreacted. Honestly, she's free to say whatever helps her move on. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. This is where the story turns into something kind of beautiful. Maya is thriving. After everything happened, she finally started attending a body neutrality support group. She's been journaling, going to therapy herself, and even started a small Instagram page about healing your relationship with food and self-worth. A few weeks ago, she was invited to speak on a panel about body image and mental health. She told her story, not just about Emily's comment, but about growing up in a world that made her feel like she had to shrink to be accepted. I went to watch her speak. I've never been more proud. She even met someone, a guy named Jamie, through her support group's extended circle. They're taking things slow, but she glows when she talks about him. He treats her with the kind of gentleness and enthusiasm she always deserved. Good. Better than I expected to be, honestly. I'm not dating yet. I'm not rushing anything. I've been focusing on friendships, travel, and spending more time with my parents and Maya. I took a solo trip to Portugal, the honeymoon destination that never was, and turned it into something just for me. Do I still think about the wedding sometimes? Of course. But not with regret. More like relief. Because I didn't just dodge a bad relationship. I learned that I won't stay silent to keep the peace. That when it comes down to it, I'll choose integrity over appearances. And that matters more than a perfect wedding album ever could. When I posted that first Reddit story, I was embarrassed. Heartbroken. I felt like a groom-shaped punchline. But you all reminded me that standing up for someone you love, even when it's messy, is never the wrong call. To anyone reading who's struggling with the guilt of walking away from something that looks perfect on the outside, don't let the idea of what something was supposed to be trap you in something it's not. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is say, this doesn't align with who I am, and I'm not going to pretend it does. Thanks, Reddit, for listening, for caring, for reminding me I'm not alone. Not the groom anymore, but better for it.